The question of vaccination is a typical example of religion, at least Judaism, contradicting science. Science insists on Darwin's theory and on natural selection of the fittest. Darwin was, as we know, against vaccines because, as he wrote, they allow the weak members of civilized society propagate their kind. Indeed, science believes that animals have evolved because the sick and the weak were dying out. This means that in order for humanity to be stronger in the future, we must let weak people die today. Darwin wrote about vaccination that anyone who studied the breeding of domestic animals cannot doubt that it is highly injurious to the human race. And this was a quote. The Torah has a different approach. The 5 books of Moses is commanding us to take care of our health. It may be true that in the future the human race will become stronger if we will stop preventing infections and caring for the sick. But when defining its moral laws, the Torah insists that we have no right to help a theoretical person by harming a specific individual. Therefore, even if vaccinations harm humanity in the future, in other words, theoretical people, we, according to the Torah, should use them still if they help actual people in front of us. And I'm not discussing now the issue of the effectiveness of specific vaccines or their side effects. For those matters, the Torah instructs us to rely on medical professionals. This means that in technical details, Judaism commands us to follow the opinion of scientists. But how and when to use their advice is a matter of ethics. And in this, we should rely on the Torah and not on science. And Darwinism is far from being the only example of how scientists, if not guided by an established system of moral values like religion, can lead people to doing terrible things. And of course, all this is done in the name of science and progress. In Germany, Julius Streicher wrote, "Nazism is nothing more than applied biology." Now you understand why the academic world of Western Europe supported Nazism. And even before that, at the beginning of the 20th century, the science of eugenics was accepted throughout the civilized world. Scientists officially called for sterilizing or killing not only people with genetic diseases, but even those who were born with deformities or weak. And all of it, of course, was for the sake of the future of humanity and based on science. Surely, today, every biologist will tell you that eugenics is a pseudoscience. But if you had called eugenics a pseudoscience 100 years ago, those same scientists would have ridiculed you as an ignoramus and anti-progress. No scientist can be sure that his area of work will not be called pseudoscience a century later. Interestingly, I've been asking scientists to show me one academic paper that refutes eugenics from a scientific point of view. To date, I haven't found any. Eugenics was started being called a pseudoscience, not for scientific, but for ethical reasons. This means that scientists saw that science must be led by something above it. Without these values, science can be even dangerous. And the same goes for vaccination. The vaccines is an example of a disagreement between science and religion. There is not a single scientific work proving that Darwin's position on vaccines is incorrect. Scientists do not refute what he wrote about vaccinations, that they harm the process of natural selection and they ruin the genetic pool of human race for future generations. But religion insists that while it is possible that vaccines can harm future generations, it is immoral not to save those who are living today because of that. And the professors who are teaching Darwinism as the absolute truth vaccinate themselves and their children. This means that, thank God, in this dispute between science and religion, as in eugenics, the entire civilized world, including scientists, took the side of religion and not the side of science.